spend our Thursday evening with you. So we've got Daniel Morris, we've got Daniel Oliver, what's up? We've got Robert Smith, Brad Scott as always. We've got Joseph Tarnecki. We've got Clear Prop, nice. We've also got Lisa Repack, Vernon Privat, Elizabeth Wood. Thank you guys for joining us. Where are you guys coming from tonight? We got, go ahead.
Steve Pendleton. We got Daniel Oliver, Nick 3Ann, Sailing SV Someday.
Hey,
what's
Steven Darla.
up? Christopher Keeler, Bob Adam. Got
Hector Vega.
Hector Vega. Hey, Hector, how are you? Thomas Golan. What's up, Tommy? Salty MF, buddy.
Yep.
Marty Handley, Mike Laws, Steve Wick. Hey, big guy. Hey, jump on Facebook on Messenger if you're here, Dad. I could use your help. All right. Well, we are so happy to have you guys here with us tonight. As usual, we're having some lighting issues, so that's always fun. But
There's a little gremlin that just like sits there and is like, ha, let's mess with them.
It's so true. But hey, we're gonna have a good time. This is great.
Yeah.
And Senator Perry coming in with the first super chat.
All right, thank you.
Real quick, just want to make you guys aware that if you guys are looking to jump into tonight's giveaway, as well as to make any donations, the best way to do that is to go to projectatticus.live, the website. And you'll see what we're giving away on that webpage, as well as an easy way to donate.
Mm-hmm. And every donation of $5 or more will be entered into a raffle for...
So we've got, the first giveaway is going to be a mug. Let me show you guys here. I'm very excited about these giveaways. So here we are. So on the left is the first giveaway. It's going to be a heartbeat mug with Atticus on it, like a coffee mug. And super cool. And then the second giveaway is our new I'd Rather Be Sailing t-shirt, which is a Project Atticus original design, which we're really excited to release. So we're going to release it to our Teespring store in the next, I don't know, week or two.
Maybe
or something.
More like 3 weeks, because we're actually hauling out on Monday, and I don't know what the internet's going to be like at the boatyard.
Right, but you guys get a chance to get these products before they're publicly available. So this is a pre-launch, so to speak. So any donations of $5 or more will enter you into a raffle to win one or the other.
2 Cents Trucking says, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty stoked. They're really cool things. Let's check those things out again. So basically, we're going to be doing the first raffle for the coffee mug is going to occur in 30 minutes. So sometime around 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll do a raffle for the mug, and then over the course of the next 30 minutes, we're going to do the t-shirt raffle. So all donations over $5 from now till 8 Eastern is going to be for the mug, and then from 8 till 8:30, more or less, is going to be for the t-shirt. So yeah, that's how we're going to do things today. We're going to switch it up just a little bit. Also, if you aren't one of the lucky winners for the giveaway, you can purchase either the mug or the shirt from our online store, our donation site, and again, that's projectatticus.live.
Yep, and something that we're toying around a little bit with, that t-shirt specifically, is we're thinking about maybe having our logo on the front and the design on the back. So if that's something that you'd want to see more than the design we have currently, shoot me an email at des@projectatticus.com, because we'd love to hear your feedback. Also, I saw my mom coming here from Siesta Key, so nice to see you, Ma.
Yeah, so a couple of real quick shout-outs. We got Trevor Evans, Anthony Poots, Andrew Jones, Wakar Wine, David Tangen.
Nice. Take the hard ones.
Yeah, that's right. I really
got
did.
Captain Mike from Hawaii.
Yeah, Brad Scott. What's up, Brad? He says, where's Dave? Good question.
I know.
I think this is the first live stream that Dave couldn't make it to.
Yeah, I'm freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is so weird.
He's on vacation?
Yeah, well, he's in one of the Canary Islands, and he told me that he might not be able to make it tonight if he had some flight complications. So I told him, jokingly, that I hope his flight gets canceled so he gets stuck in paradise. So maybe he's stuck in paradise, so I guess I'm happy for him.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're really excited. This is going to be super fun. To start things off, first off, oh man, we got people from all over the place. We got Erie R from Detroit saying hello. Jeff Burns from Toronto.
Got James Bond.
James Bond from Charleston, South Carolina. Cool.
843.
Yeah, we got SV Luska from Magog, Quebec.
Wow.
All right.
Cool.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. And then Pechora from Tampa, Florida.
Oh, very cool.
Rock on.
And we will have Zingaro joining us tonight. So once you guys are here, let us know, and then we'll talk about a little bit about your shipwreck at sea. We'll go into that a little bit. So let us know when you're here.
Yes. So the beginning of tonight's live stream, we are going to do a special tribute to our friends over at Sailing Zingaro, SV Zingaro, and James has sent, well, if you guys aren't familiar with what occurred with the good crew of SV Zingaro, they were on their way from the Line Islands in the South Pacific, although I guess that's more the equator, heading for Hawaii when they had some pretty dramatic boat problems. And so they are now, basically their boat is totaled, so to speak, and so they are underway in trying to kind of fundraise to continue their adventure. And so
there they are. We've got, hi guys, nice to see your faces again. And yeah, we actually met Kimmy and James in Isla Mujeres when we were like just so dirty all the time, like covered in fiberglass and paint,
and just working
so much. And so Zingaro had a sail that he needed some stitching, so I sewed it up for him. I did warn him though that he needed new sails, but I did what I could, and hopefully it lasted for a little while. And it was really fun just hanging out with James and Kimmy. And I think Kimmy had just gotten aboard, maybe a couple of months she was on there with James, so that was really cool. We feel cool that we had that kind of intersection. And also at the time we weren't doing videos, we were working, and so we just thought it was so cool how humble James was to have like this very successful YouTube channel and be really nice to us. So thanks, James, you're an awesome guy, and Kimmy, you're even more awesome.
I'm not gonna pick sides.
Yeah, so let's show that their little teasers.
Cool.
If you guys are interested, you can check out their YouTube page and their Kickstarter campaign. We've got a bunch of links in the description below. They've got a sneak peek for their next episode, only available to patrons. So let's just show that video.
Yeah, so this is a snippet from their dramatic incident. It's a cool little video. So yeah, we'll watch it.
Can you scroll up also? I just a little bit biased about this.
Larry Robin, which thank you very much, Larry. Larry Robin says, "Just because I love y'all, mostly Des."
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry. It's all right. It's all right, Larry. It's all right. We're still friends. All right. So here's, without further ado, here is a quickie from Zingaro.
At 0443 Hawaii Center, South Coast Guard received a report of the sailing vessel Zingaro, a 36-foot crane catamaran with 02 persons on board, disabled and drifting in approximate position 1853.72 north, 15641.45 west, about 49 miles west of the Big Island. Same vessel Zingaro, Coast Guard. Roger, that's a good copy, and I'll understand. If we sent a helicopter to your position to hoist you off of your vessel, would you feel comfortable leaving the vessel behind? Over. All vessels are requested to keep a sharp lookout as it's impossible to port all thanks to the Coast Guard. Signed, Commander, United States Coast Guard Sector Honolulu.
All right, so very epic, exciting stuff. Very Nick 3Ann says that is terrifying, and I agree. Very scary. So, check out their full video that they put together on Kickstarter, and I know they have an episode out on YouTube about it. But yeah, so and I was gonna ask James what
and Kimmy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you guys are both on or not, but. James and Kimmy, curious what you would say the biggest lesson is that you learned from the experience. I'm sure there was multiple, but yeah, be really curious what you would say the biggest lesson that you learned was. Also, if any of you guys have any questions for Zingaro, go ahead and type it into the chat and just make sure you tag Zingaro, and they'll do their best to answer you guys. So, Cool. So beyond that, guys, let us know if you guys have any questions.
Or if you've been in a situation like this and what happened to you. Have you ever been rescued from your boat? What lessons did you learn? It's one of those things where when you get into boating, I think it's secretly in the back of everyone's mind, just hidden that catastrophe moment, the Mayday moment. And so it's we're so happy that James and Kimmy made it safely. It seems like they really stuck with their boat and got ingenuitive, which is what sailing is all about at the same time. But yeah, everyone can relate, I feel like, because it's something that's in the back of our heads,
Totally, yeah. So, and this is a patron question, and Doug actually asked us this earlier today. So this is Doug at Caledonia Sound and Recording Studio. Asks, since your canal passage is coming up fairly soon, can you tell us notionally what your route is planned to be? What would be first stop, second stop, etc.? How far east would we be going? Philippine Sea? So what are we thinking there? Roughly, what we're talking about doing is, making landfall in the Marquesas, going from the Marquesas to the Tuamotus, from the Tuamotus to the Society Islands, so that's Tahiti and the islands around Tahiti. And then we were toying with the idea of heading up into the Line Islands, which is where James and Kimmy were, before they sailed off to Hawaii. But just in my brief conversation with James that I had about a day or two ago, asking him what he thought of spending cyclone season in the Line Islands, he was saying it'd be really rough. First of all, the internet is really slow and not easy to access. And then it seems like there's a shortage of solid anchorages, particularly ones where the authorities will let you stay at that island for prolonged periods of time. So it's just way too far out in the middle of nowhere, too backwater, and just not secure enough to be there for long periods of time, from what he was saying.
Yeah, it would be awesome if they had internet, though, because then we could upload some videos.
Right, and so
Sweet.
The Line Islands are actually, they straddle the equator. They're way far north of the Society Islands, by a lot. And so that would have been one option for spending cyclone season, still pretty far east in the South Pacific. But without that option, really there's only two options that I can tell. One is to spend cyclone season as far east as possible. So maybe in like a Marina or something in Tahiti, which I don't really like that idea because they do get cyclones there. Mm-hmm. Or trying to be in the Marquesas during cyclone season, which I just don't know if that's possible because we'd have to spend like a year in the Marquesas, which seems like way too much. Or we'd have to go to the Society Islands and go back.
Isn't the permit only 6 months for the Marquesas?
I think you can get a year.
Oh, yeah.
But regardless, what I mean to say is our options seem to be that the best thing to do is to sail all the way to New Zealand in one season. And so that would be most likely our plan. So Marquesas, Tuamotus, Society Islands, Cook Islands, and then I can't remember off the top of my head. Then you've got Tonga, Fiji. See, I can't remember the order, but then we'd get down to New Zealand for cyclone season. And then how far east we would go, that's a good question. Where we would go from New Zealand, we'd have to really think about that.
Sailing Zangaro said, the most important lesson we learned is to always have the right size sea anchor. Hands down. Is that like a para anchor?
Yeah.
Interesting, which we don't have.
Right, yeah. No, great point.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts, James, on the para anchor versus the drogue and the series drogue conversation? Because
that is something that, and for any of you guys out there that have experience with either sea anchors or drogues, we're trying to decide what we want to carry on Atticus, whether we want to do the sea anchor or whether we want to do something like a Jordan series drogue. They both have pros and cons, and so we're trying to decide what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. And while you guys are giving us your thoughts on that, I wanted to give a couple of shout outs. So we've got Don in Omaha donated. We've got, so thank you very much. We've got Andrea. We've got Senator Perry already said hello. We've got Blimp Commander. We've got Danny and Sarah Morris. We've got Bob from Atlanta. We've got Daniel Oliver. We've got Annie Zephish. Cool name. Let's see. We've got Rebecca Preeb. He says, "How do y'all plan to pack?" Oops. How do y'all plan to pack? Oh my gosh. Plan to pack enough provisions for your crossing of the Pacific? That's a good question. I'm actually going to work on some new storage solutions. I built a little thing right here. You can't see with our camera, but it's like it's made out of this material which is called Pfeiffertex. So it's a little storage hanging locker, kind of like those hammocks that you see in a lot of boats, but a lot more sturdy. And I'd like to just fill up all of the unused cabin space with that and just shove like potatoes and onions and carrots anywhere I can. But I'm sure we have a lot to learn. I will say that cruising in Cuba for over a month really prepared me to figure out how to get creative with provisioning, because we basically didn't go grocery shopping for over a month while we were there. So that was good practice.
Brad Scott says they started the extrusion game early. Desiree's been drinking.
I know. Put.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, a couple more thank yous, and then we can move on. Sorry.
Okay.
We got Don Hamblin. We've got SV Someday. Gosh, bottom line. We've got Elizabeth and Rob Wood. Warren. We've got Larry Sumner. And Shannon Dardar. Nice to see ya. And then MJ Clements. Woo! Okay, we'll catch up with the rest later.
Cool. So, real quick, it was, So, Joey Adams was asking, not sure if you already did, but what's the point of a sea anchor? So, for those that aren't familiar, a sea anchor is more, like the simplest way of putting it is it's a parachute that goes in the water and then has a long line going to the boat, and then you connect that line to the boat. And so, the wind will kind of, you take your sails down, or you heave to, either or, and then you let the wind drift you downwind, and then that sea anchor will pull in the water. So it's a way of slowing down your motion, but also keeping your bow into the seas, which from that video that we saw of Zingaros, I'm sure one of the main benefits to them would have been keeping their bows pointed into the seas, into the waves. So I can definitely understand that in the event of an emergency or equipment failure, stuff like that. But also just in a survival sea situation where you have breaking waves, that could also come in handy. A drogue is sort of the opposite. A drogue is generally something that you trail behind the boat, and it slows you down and keeps your stern to the waves. And then a series drogue is like a whole bunch, like hundreds of tiny little drogues. Mm-hmm. And so they're just different strategies for dealing with a similar problem.
And New Salt Sailing was saying Jordan Series equals DIY by Jordan. And no, it's actually,
I don't think so.
Yeah, the designers, the first people who came up with the series drogue idea, the guy or the company was called the Jordan Series drogue. Yeah. So it's kind of like tissue Kleenex thing.
And Daniel Oliver was asking, where's the cowboy hat?
Oh, yeah?
I was convinced not to wear it by somebody. I'm not going to say who it was. Is Dave in the house?
Dave!
Somebody's saying Dave's in the house.
Dave!
Yeah!
Dave, you
DD
made
Zire
it!
in the house! Nice one, Dave. How's your vacation going, buddy?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt it. Also, Zingaro, now that you guys are here, what were some other lessons you learned about your Pacific crossing as far as, provisioning and other safety gear? Or
just any tips on the South Pacific that you want to share, because that's the one thing about the South Pacific. It just seems like it's such a different world to me, Mm-hmm. I feel like we're good at cruising in the Caribbean now, mm-hmm. and I feel like there's so much to learn about cruising in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
So, any tips?
Yeah, did you find that to be the case, or was it mostly the same and kind of in your head? And did you have that dichotomy at all? And
right.
Other of you out there, have you sailed the Pacific and have, tips and advice about it? Let us know.
Cool.
I think we missed a comment from Zingaro. Did you see what he was saying?
He was saying that the drogue would be handy, especially if we lost our rudder, because we can steer with the drogue, which is a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Only problem with the drogue is you have to install two dedicated chain plates on the quarters of the boat, because there's a lot of loads that you have to transmit, whereas a para anchor, you should be able to attach it to your main cleats forward, because they're normally heavily reinforced.
And for those of you guys who watch our channel a lot, you might know that we're a little bit obsessed with Lynn Party and Lynn and Larry Party, and they kind of champion the phrase "Go simple, go small, go now." And one of their really great books is called Storm Tactics. It's one of our favorite books on Atticus, and they're really pro para anchor and anti drogue. But that being said, they said that they I think for their first circumnavigation they didn't even have a para anchor at all. So, I guess it's just the level of risk that you're willing to take on.
Anthony Putz says, I sailed the Pacific in an aircraft carrier. It's not that bad.
Well, give us a lift.
Yeah, right, yeah. And then, hey, Chase is here. What's up, Chase?
Hey, Chase.
He's saying that the winds just came back from the South Pacific as well, and that we should watch their vids. And yeah, I've watched a couple of them, and I'd like to watch more, because I really do want to know exactly what the route was. And do you guys know, anybody know where the winds went for cyclone season? Like what their plan was? Because I don't even know how ahead of their videos they are. So anyway, I'd be really curious. Did they hop down to New Zealand? Or, what did they do? Because, yeah, that does seem to be the big challenge, as far as I can tell, with the South Pacific, because there's just nowhere to really run and hide for cyclone season. You can hunker down, you can haul your boat out, you can stay in a marina somewhere, but there's no, like, Rio Dulce of the South Pacific. There's no Grenada of the South Pacific. The Line Islands would be the closest thing, or maybe Kiribati, the rest of Kiribati, the western part of Kiribati, but same kind of story. I've heard they're just very, very kind of, I don't want to say desolate, but yeah, just undeveloped.
Zingara just said, much deeper anchorages in the Pacific. Get a couple of buoys and practice buoying the anchor. Waves are bigger. Make sure your rig is good. Been hit by 40 knot twice, 50 knots once. Dang.
Gotcha. Okay. Big waves, lots of wind, and deep water. So I can dig it. Thanks, buddy.
What does it mean to buoy the anchor? Like, just so you know.
Yeah, so that's a great point. I imagine, and now James, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm imagining that you're saying buoy the anchor so that you can have like a trip line on the anchor to help retrieve it, because it's so deep that if it gets caught on like a rock or coral or something, you're going to have a heck of a time getting down there and unfouling it.
Wow.
Whereas you can attach a trip line to a part of the anchor where it lifts kind of in a way where it won't foul.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm curious if that's what you're talking about, James. I also know that in the Marquesas, at least, it's common to use a stern anchor to get your bow into the waves, into the swell, and so it's good to mark your stern anchor too. So, yeah. Anyway, so Dan Etherton was saying that the winds hauled out and went to the USA. Dan, do you know where they hauled out? I'd be curious. Oh, yeah. There we go. Stacy DePaolo is saying that they hauled out in Tonga.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. Yeah, and that's right. I mean, that's basically your next best option to getting out of the cyclone area entirely, and that is to haul your boat out somewhere. So yeah, that seems like it's not a bad option. I'll be curious how long the winds are going to stay away from the boat, if they're going to stay away for the whole cyclone season or just the core of it or what. Yeah. But yeah, because that's a lot of these questions are a lot of what we're struggling with.
Yeah.
Is, if we were to sail all the way from Panama to, New Zealand in, how many months would that be? That's like 7 months or so. I mean, not that many months. One season, more or less. That's a long way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving. And because we spend a lot of time editing, it's not easy to do that, right? If you're just cruising, if you're just sailing, then yeah, you can be on the move a lot, and it's not a big deal. But, realistically, 50% of our time is spent editing videos. And so we only have half the time that your average cruiser would actually have.
And not to mention, we still have a lot of projects to do, so we're cutting it close. The mast is still down, for example, and we're hauling out this Monday with a lot of projects that we got to tackle. So we are getting closer to need to make a decision. So we've got a couple of plan Bs that we're, researching just in case we don't make our deadline.
Yeah, and that we'll leave it at that for now. We definitely we have secondary plans in the event that this refit continues longer than we wanted it to.
Wait, refits go longer than you expect? That's so weird.
I mean, only for us. Only for us. I don't think that really happens to other people. Yeah. Okay, so James got back to us. He's saying, as for buoying the anchor, he says not quite. He's talking about buoying the chain. That way you can anchor in a small patch of sand and have fenders or buoys every 30 feet of chain to keep it up and out of the coral.
Oh, interesting.
It's bad for the coral and bad for sleeping.
Oh.
And in fact, yeah, I've now that we're talking about the winds, I saw one of the winds episodes where they did that in the Tuamotus.
Well, darn it, we needed some buoys.
Well, you just fenders. Yeah.
I think
although we only have 2 fenders. Yeah. We'll need some more fenders.
They're in rough shape. One of them we found adrift, right?
Yeah.
The other one we picked up, it was abandoned at a dock.
Yeah.
And then the other one we bought from West Marine.
Yeah. But but that is really interesting. So basically it allows, because you need that much scope out to be anchored properly. But if there's, only a 30-foot patch of no coral, then you need to get the rest of that 200 feet of chain just up above the coral heads. And so, I imagine, James, that you just swim down. Gosh, I can't even imagine the process involved there. Yeah, I'd be
we'll
really curious.
We'll have to watch one of your videos.
I know, right? We keep taking up all your time. But anyway, yeah, we'll have to watch one of your videos.
Also, we've got a couple more minutes before we're going to close our first drawing. So if you're interested in this pretty little sailing mug that I designed, and that's Atticus right there, then you can go ahead and donate $5 or more on Super Chat or PayPal. Or our ProjectAtticus.live website.
And it's much better for all involved if you try and use the ProjectAtticus.live webpage. So you guys we'll go like another 3 minutes before we do our drawing for the coffee mug. And yeah. Very excited about it.
This is a good question. Audentes Fortuna Juvat says, why Atticus no water maker? And up to this point, we just haven't really been able to afford it, and it hasn't really been a necessity in the Caribbean. It's super inconvenient, but it's doable. But yeah, definitely for the Pacific crossing, we're going to need a water maker. So we are in discussions trying to get a little bit of a discount from a company, and we'll talk about that hopefully when it goes through.
Oh, it's not through enough yet?
No.
Okay.
They're stringing me along. They're such teases. I'm
yeah.
like, I just want fresh water, please.
So I
swear we'll make good videos.
We can't say exactly who we're going with, but we can say that it should be completed in the next week, right?
Yeah.
And so hopefully we will be getting a new water maker sent to us in about a week, and it takes 3 weeks to a month to get to the States. So, so we will be installing a water maker shortly, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
And it's just it's going to be one of those low power usage 12 volt water makers. Mm-hmm. Probably going to be doing something around 6 to 8 gallons per hour, I believe, and more or less that many amps per hour. Maybe like 8 to 10 amps per hour. Amps, just not amps per hour.
Yeah, and for those of you who have done a Pacific crossing, are there any other safety items that you'd recommend definitely having? What about you, James? What was any other items that you had on board that you were really happy that you had. And did you guys, how are you guys doing weather on your passage? Let's see. I wanted to do a couple of super chat thank yous.
Sure.
Fell really behind. Sorry about that. We've got Sylvie Ratte. We've got SV Spirit Libre. He said, tried to send via the website, but will not allow me to create an account. Huh. That's strange.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that.
You don't need to create an account at projectatticus.live. You just have to type in a username, and it just can't have any spaces or punctuation or anything.
That might have been it.
And then it'll just ask for your PayPal information or your credit card or whatever.
Huh.
It's definitely doable.
He says, I'm looking to see if I can have any Lady Grey tea sent to you guys. We're actually drinking Earl Grey tonight, and it's so good.
Dirtbag cold tea, buddy. There we go. Time for some more.
We've got Doug in Caledonia Sound and Recording Studio. Oh, Doug Lyson. I forgot how to pronounce your last name, but thanks for for joining us tonight. I really enjoyed reading your email. We've got Richard Powers. You're awesome. We've got Chuck Jones. We've got Sheen Marine. Cool name. Says, love what you guys are doing. We've got Chicken Patty. Hey guys, nice to see you. We've got Trevor Evans. Woo. And let's do one more. We've got Michelle Louise Nail Tech. You are awesome. Thanks, Shell and Jeff.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're getting a lot of people talking about, do we know Jason and Nikki from the Winds? We haven't gotten to meet them yet. And then somebody...
I'm a fangirl. For sure.
Yeah. So here we go. Gosh, so SV Scintilla is saying internet is poor until Tonga. Looking to Starlink coming online later this year. That's another one for you guys, James and Kimmy. What was your experience uploading episodes? In the eastern portion of the South Pacific, whether it be the Tuamotus or the Marquesas. I'd be curious what you thought of that.
Iceman Alaska said, can you scroll up? Iceman Alaska says, practice man overboard procedure over and over until you know it well, because getting turned around in bad weather by yourself, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah.
And then, so James was saying he wishes he had a fourth reef, which is scary.
He wishes he had a what?
A fourth reef in his mainsail.
Oh, dang.
Captain Mike Hawaii says more books than you think you need. So that's a good point. For us, it's going to be audiobooks. We're going to need to really pack on the audiobooks.
Yeah.
And then he says, and a third reef. That's why I mentioned this. As it stands, we have 2 reefs in Atticus's mainsail, but they're big reefs. So, getting another reef put in would be a consideration. We do have a trysail with a dedicated track that we've never used. And so, that's kind of what we would go with. But again, I've just never needed it. But
a teeny little storm sail.
James is saying that they're hitting 40, 50 knot winds from time to time. So,
well, now I'm all stressed out.
Yeah, calm down, buddy.
All right, let's do the drawing. Well, I should do that. You can answer questions. We're going to close the drawing for the mug, and I'll get back to you in 2 minutes on the winner.
Cool, very good. Okay, sorry, hold on.
I got a question. Jeff Dilery says, love your videos, attitude, and energy. Just wondering what type of captain's license you have. OUPV master?
So I've got a 100-ton U.S. Coast Guard master's license with a sailing endorsement, and then a 200-ton yacht master, the British thing. But I don't think I'm ever going to use either one again. In fact, I think my U.S. Coast Guard license is about to expire. And people ask me if we feel like it's a good idea to get licenses like that. And really, I don't. Unless you're going to work on boats for money, then you really don't need a license like that. You can either get ASA certifications and go to ASA courses, or just practice. In so many ways, simply getting out on the water on a boat is the best way to learn this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about that. MB says, where are you putting the life raft? We kind of need to figure that out, and we need to figure out what kind of life raft we're going to have if we're going to have one. So we're in the middle of figuring that whole thing out. We'll let you know once we figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then real quick, RJP says, how do you guys sail at nighttime when it's super dark? And so we just keep on going, man.
Mm-hmm.
We just follow our GPS. We have either our electronic autopilot or our mechanical wind vane steering the boat. And so we just kind of have one person awake at all times to keep an eye out for mostly other boats. Yeah. And then also to just be there in case something were to happen. If something were to break, if we were to go off course for some reason.
Mm-hmm. And I actually like sailing at night way more because it's not as hot, and because during the day when you're trying to make out a boat on the horizon, it's actually pretty difficult. Whereas at night, if the boat's lit up, you can see their lights really well, and it's a lot easier to tell what kind of vessel it is because they all follow the same light pattern rules. So I like night watches. Mm-hmm. Aside from feeling sleep deprived. All right, the winner for tonight's mug, you want to show it one more time?
Okay, so the winner for this guy on the left here
is Bottom Line.
Bottom Line.
Yeah. So Bottom Line, just shoot me an email at des@projectatticus.com, and I will get your address and get you all set up, and you'll have to enjoy that mug for us and send us a picture of it because we're really proud of that design. Hope you like it.
Cool.
I love the design.
And so if you guys were really, really, hoping you were going to win the mug, know that you can go to our donation page, projectatticus.live, and you can buy the mug right then and there. They take PayPal, they take credit card, and then it'll just show up to your house. So, super cool. Yeah. And now we are officially opening the giveaway for the I'd Rather... Almost, sorry about that. Almost played Zingaro's video again. So now we're opening up the giveaway for the t-shirt I'd Rather Be Sailing, which is our Project Atticus original super cool t-shirt that we're rolling out. And this is your chance to get it before anybody else. This is sort of a pre-release. So yeah, very exciting. All donations of $5 or more will enter you into a giveaway raffle to win that bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nick 3Ann says you did a great job on the mug, Des. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. She worked with a designer, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw her under the bus, but
it's really funny because I creatively, when I'm editing somebody's writing, or when Jordan asks me to watch the final draft of a video, if something is not right, it just gets me really stressed out and flustered, and sometimes I don't know how to express what needs to be fixed, in my opinion. And so it's funny because it's been a learning curve with me working with a couple of different designers. The designer who did our mug is from Ukraine, actually. And I read Jordan an interaction I had with one of the first designers, and I said something like, "What's up with that font?" Or I said, "That font, I don't really know about it. It's just something's off." And Jordan was like, you're just being mean. Oh, good to know you're like that with everyone and not just me on my videos. So it's been a learning curve. I just need to, I guess, be nicer when it comes to creative stuff. And so Jordan always gives me that feedback when he'll show me a video, and then I'll have a list of all the things that I think are wrong with the video. And usually ends up being good in the end, but I need to cool it.
She needs to be a little insensitive.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is a great one. Sailing Blue Moon says, be careful sailing at night in Indonesia. There are fads everywhere and unlit. So a fad is a fish attracting device. Is that right? Fish attracting device. And all they really are is just like a floating thing, right? It's just a large floating object, and then stuff will grow on the object so that fish can eat the stuff that are growing on it. They can get shade and some kind of protection. Fish that are way out in the middle of nowhere, like being under something that's floating. And then you get bigger fish that eat the littler fish, and you get bigger fish eating those fish. So you get these ecosystems that are formed on this floating object. And so fishermen in that part of the world, as I understand it, will just put large floating objects all over the place in the ocean. And so that is something that scares me a lot. I know that I was watching not Nanji, Nahoa. I was watching Sailing Nahoa video of them sailing around the Philippines, and they were having to deal with fads as well.
Great.
That is a terrifying thing, right? Just hitting something at night would not be
What
fun.
about you, James and Kimmy? Has that been a problem for you guys so far? We got MJ Sizemore asks, do you use the head on the vessel or bucket and chuck it? We've got a head. It was installed on Atticus when we bought it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a manual pump toilet. It's kind of shit the bed like twice, but the repairs are pretty easy because we always have spare parts now. So it's a pretty good head. Very happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Audentes Fortuna was asking, are you planning to install a shower and composting toilet on board Atticus? And we're pretty happy with our toilet as it is. As for a shower, we have a little inflatable shower. You can prime it with a foot pump, and it's like $100. It's called a Helio shower, and we just shower in the cockpit using that, and I like it. It's kind of nice being outside. We usually shower around sunset, and it's nice and hot usually by then, and it's getting a little bit dark, so people aren't staring at you. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird initially, but then we just get used to it.
Yeah. So James and Kimmy on Zingaro are saying one last thing. We got an Iridium for the last 3 months we cruised.
Oh, cool.
It was expensive, but awesome.
Nice
to have Predict Wind, Out to Sea, plus email. Recommend. And so we actually have an Iridium Go.
Yay!
And Predict Wind with it, which we haven't used it yet. We haven't activated it yet. But we are super, super stoked about it. Because just that ability to know the latest up-to-date forecasts is incredible. Because I used to use our DeLorme InReach, and I'd message my dad when we were out at sea. We'd be in the middle of the Caribbean, like, "Hey, Dad, are the winds still gonna pick up tonight, or what's it looking like?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, it looks the blah blah blah." So it was definitely a very slow way to access weather information.
It was cool though, because now his dad knows how to read the weather, and so whenever
he did a great job.
Yeah, whenever anyone on my side of the family is worried about the weather, I'm like, just call Steve. He'll explain it to you. They're like, "There's a hurricane in the world," and I'm like, "Just call Steve. We're fine. Call Steve."
Yeah. And then real quick, I had a question from Trevor Evans. He says, do they deliver overseas? And I'm not entirely sure what he was specifically asking about, but something that we've been dealing with a lot, or Desiree's been dealing with a lot the last month or two, has been getting stuff delivered to Panama. And so it's something that I knew nothing about before the last year, really, because we did have some stuff delivered to Roatan in the Bay Islands of Honduras. But yeah, I mean, you can get things delivered all over the Caribbean, at least, particularly at a handful of hot spots like Panama. And it's not terribly expensive. It's
the
less...
customs is what's expensive.
Yeah, the customs is the bummer, because that's like 15 or 20% of the value of each item.
And if you can afford to wait for ocean freight, which can take like 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes a month, then it's cheaper. But if you really need something, then it gets really expensive, because then you're paying by weight.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a couple of thank yous. I'm really behind.
Sure, go ahead.
So we've got Boat Cop. We've got Brian Autry. He says, never use a sea anchor made from an extrusion. We've got Andrew. We've got Brad Scott. I dare you to say extrusion a bunch of times and make several of us hate work more than usual tomorrow.
Is there an impromptu drinking party going on?
Extrusion. So for those of you who don't know, we had a patron-only drinking game a couple weeks ago where there's an episode where Jordan said the word extrusion. I don't know how many times was it, Brad? Like 10 at least.
Yeah, people passed out before the episode was over.
Yeah, so every time he says extrusion, we take a drink. So.
Yeah, so that is definitely, if you're ever wondering, like, hey, what the heck is it all about being a patron? That's one of the cool things that we do is do these drinking games while watching episodes. So that's always a fun thing.
And then one of our patrons designed or came up with an idea for a shot glass, which we did a giveaway for. It was 1 extrusion, 2 extrusion, 3 extrusion floor.
Yeah.
So great.
Real quick, real quick, Black Flag Marine says, are you having it sent marked yacht in transit? That's something that you used to be able to do in Panama. You could say this item is being sent to a yacht that is just passing through Panama, and then they wouldn't charge customs. But now they have basically, the new government, which has just happened in the last couple months, has made it so that you effectively can't do that unless you're a commercial vessel.
Yeah, if you're at like a port.
You have to be at a commercial port to receive the items, and more than just that. So it's effectively not actually a thing anymore.
And even when you did put yacht in transit on your package, you'd still basically have to go through an agent to be able to handle all the paperwork. So you're not paying customs, but you're still paying a lot of fees for just having someone do your paperwork so that you don't have to pay customs. So it's just real complicated. We've got Don Hamblin, thanks so much, from Pensacola. We've got Sailing SV Someday says, extrusion. Stacy DePaolo says, love seeing you both. You are in pretty good place for coffee. That is true, and there's actually a coffee roaster on our dock. The person who roasts coffee, not the roaster. So Jordan gets freshly roasted coffee like a I don't know. I was gonna say spoiled brat, but that sounds really mean. Like a guy who gets good coffee. The thing that
he wants?
Yeah.
It's been great.
Like a good guy.
Thanks, buddy.
Sure. We've got Landlocked No More. We've got D. Meyer, 0311. We've got M. Hagen, says all the best from Annapolis. We've got K1, Sail 1942. We've got C. Tile, looking forward to the new mug or maybe buying you a beer. Awesome. We've got Robert Nelson. We've got Carlos Berlanga. I love saying that. Sad, no hat, but happy that you're live and helping out Zingaro. We've got Chase Mixon. We've got Kurt 404. We've got Dave Dave 0549V. Woo! Cool.
All right.
Next question.
Nice. This is a good one. I like this. Oh,
sorry. He just said, hey, put this towards your audiobook fund. I'm enjoying Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, read by Stephen Fry and Martin Freeman.
Nice. That would be a good audiobook. Yeah. We read the first 2.
No, just the first one.
No, 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Well, anyway, it would be a great... That's a great call.
Yeah.
That'd be a good audiobook. So, Lon Pribble says, real quick, would you get drunk too? So for our patron watch party, would you say that how drunk was I? I'll put it that way.
You were like 7 out of 10 drunk.
7 out of 10?
For sure.
That's probably more than it actually was. But yeah, we let loose, man. It was a good time.
I'm just not... we're just different. I have a hard time letting loose.
Yeah.
I'm too what do you call it, tightly strung. 2 glasses of wine, I'm done. Let's see.
Yeah, and then JC Regal says, I think channel Follow the Boat with many years experience are reluctant to sail at night because of fishing boats without lights and fads. Well, and particularly because they've been in the Southeast Asia for a bit. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's just one of those things where you have to adapt your strategies to the specific challenges of the region that you're in. And so it's just not that big of a deal in the Caribbean to sail at night. Whereas in areas where there's too many boats that are unlit, then that's a different story. So anyway, it's something I'm not well educated on, and it's something that when we get into an area like that, we will be really doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of people about it.
Mm-hmm. I've got a couple more. I am Chris McClure. We've got Greg Rowe. We've got Stan M. We've got Danny is there. Sailing SV Someday. Assuming you finished Atomic Habits, what are you reading now? Let's see. What are we reading now?
I'm reading a book called Incognito, which is all about like how your brain works, at least as far as people understand it. Particularly parts of your brain that you're not aware of, your subconscious and your systems that are automatic. Good book. I would recommend it. Incognito.
I'm listening to Howard Zinn's American History of the United States.
People's History of the United States.
Yeah. That's fun. That's my nighttime reading.
Yeah, some light reading. It's just like the history of everyone who ever suffered ever.
Well, what I like doing is I read it, I listen to it as I fall asleep, and then sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't fall asleep, but at least I'm learning.
Yeah.
We've got Robert Nelson, we've got Captain Mike Hawaii, RJ Bates, Robert the Scuba Monkey, awesome name, Mark Hawley, and then we'll get back to some more thank yous in a bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, real quick here, Robert Bailey is saying, I'd like to know if you're going to get AIS. And yes, that is something that we're going to be installing shortly. We're probably going to do an episode on just like our electronics upgrades. Because we've got the Iridium Go that we're going to be installing the permanent mounting kit. We've got the Wii Boost, which we've got to kind of configure its permanent mounting kit. We've got a new inverter, and then we've got a new VHF radio that has AIS in it.
Be high tech.
Be super high tech, dude. We're gonna be like awesome high tech. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're not gonna. But Sailing SV Someday is asking, are we gonna receive or transmit or both? And it's receive only. We're not gonna transmit.
What are your plans for Valentine's Day?
That's tomorrow? Ooh. TGIF,
buddy.
There you go. We'll probably just go to a restaurant, I guess.
Yeah. There's a good Indian restaurant in town. I haven't had Indian food since we left the United States.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then we have a race on Saturday. So there's a Bocas Marina here in Bocas Del Toro is putting on their second annual Bocas Del Toro Regatta, and so
Regatta, be kidding me.
Regatta, I'm not kidding you. Regatta serious. Regatta so serious.
Yeah.
But anyway,
better believe it.
Oh God. And so we don't have the rig up on Atticus, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to participate with Atticus, but we're going to crew on Parlay Revival, the boat from the Sailing Channel, Sailing Parlay Revival. I don't know if they have a sailing in it, but Parlay Revival, the Sailing Channel. Mm-hmm. Colin invited us to come hang out on his boat, and that's another cool channel. Colin got a hold of this beat up, hurricane damaged catamaran and fixed it up, poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and now they're sailing around, and they're actually planning on sailing across the Pacific this year as well.
Mm-hmm. We've got James and Kimmy are heading out. They say, great hanging out with you guys again. The Pacific awaits. So excited for you two. Can't wait to hear your sail plan. You've got this. Just avoid the weather and get a flopper stopper or two. Much love. We do have a flopper bopper. My gosh.
We have a flopper
Am
bopper?
I drunk tonight or what?
I'm not sure.
Flopper stopper. We have one. Oh, God. Yeah. And we've got another question from one of our patrons, Chad Towner. He was saying, one question I have for you guys is, what do you think comes after cruising? I'm curious about that aspect. You're building a ton of great skills. Wondering what you might move on to next.
It's a good question. I mean, we throw around a lot of ideas. Mm-hmm. One thing we've talked about is doing another YouTube channel. Now, again, this isn't for a while.
Yeah, this is when we're in our
in our prime.
Yeah. After the kids have left the house.
Yeah, but yeah, so we've talked about someday doing something like building an off-grid home somewhere, you know?
Des is so punny.
We've that's awesome. But yeah, that's something that we've talked about is taking these skills from living on a sailboat and then also the skills of telling a story on YouTube and filming what we do and turning it into like building an off-grid home somewhere. And then living on it and the challenges of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's something to consider. We've also talked about, we've started talking about like how it'd be cool if we got into doing like, if we did a feature film of something, just said like, screw it, let's go make a feature film now. So we have all kinds of wacky ideas.
Yeah, but I think it would revolve around like videography, editing, social media marketing, things like that. We've picked up the skills and had lots of lessons and made a lot of mistakes along the way. So we have this knowledge. We might as well try to stay on that track.
Yeah. So but that won't be for a long time. Like we really plan on, having kids and then cruising with the kids, getting Atticus 2.0, which will be a huge project, I'm sure. And so, I mean, I think we're pretty set for the next 10 or 15 years at least.
Yeah, Bob Adams says, like the reverse of odd life crafting. Yeah, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so real quick, Trevor Evans says, I'm in my prime from Doc Holliday. That like cool scene where he's like spinning his little shot glass around like it's
nice.
a gun. That's a great scene. He's like super drunk and sickly. He's like, me? I'm in my prime.
That's great.
Yeah.
Got another question from 2 Cents Trucking on YouTube. Says, do you guys plan on circumnavigating? Do you have a time frame, or are you on island time? And I'd say we're on YouTube channel time, which means everything takes about twice as long to film it and do it, and then find a place to upload it. But we're not in a hurry. Basically, we just like to see as much as we can. Our big goal, as you guys know, is to cross the Pacific and get over to a new part of the world that we've never experienced before. And yeah, we do plan to keep going after that. Where, I don't really know for sure.
Yeah, but I don't think that circumnavigating is a high goal on our list.
Right.
Would you say? I mean, if a cooler
Itinerary,
or itinerary presented itself
Right.
and it involved like turning, taking a right instead of continuing straight, I think we would. Our main goal is the experience and the adventure more than technically circumnavigating.
Yeah, and I think my favorite part of cruising is getting to places that a lot of people don't get to experience. So getting as far remote as you possibly can, because there are civilizations and ecosystems that you can't even imagine, and they're so different from what we experience every day. So for me, that's what's most enticing about living this lifestyle, rather than the ultimate goal of circumnavigating. Although we probably will circumnavigate when all is said and done.
Right, and I would like to be able to say that I've done it. That is cool to say, like, I'm a circumnavigator. I'm
a circumnavigator.
Anyway, nobody knows that song.
See you
right?
later. Finish the song if you know the song.
No. So Theo Herman says, are you going to get a roller furler before the Pacific crossing? And yes, so that's en route, right?
No, feet. How are you going to dig? Go ahead.
The roller furler is en route, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a Furlex, a furler from Selden, on its way. And we've also got new sails on their way from Precision Sails. And so we're going to combine them to like make the best sail combination setup imaginable. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be such a huge difference. For those of you, I'll just real quick say that the head sail is going to be a 135 Genoa on a furler. And then we're going to have our removable Solent stay, which could run it's going to be about an 80% jib, so a pretty small jib. So we really will go from the Genoa to a furled Genoa to this smaller jib. And then we also will have a reacher that can
A whomper?
that can actually hank on, or it like zips on to the removable Solent stay, and that way we can sail on the wind in really light winds, which is something that we haven't really been able to do with any of our sails yet. And that's beginning to be my favorite weather situation for an offshore passage, is if you can get onto a close reach in like 8 or 10 knots of wind, that is civilized, man. Like, that's comfortable, enjoyable. You've got breeze going over the boat, so the idea was to be able to take advantage of weather patterns like that. And anyway, so very much looking forward to that. That'll be an episode coming up in the next month or so.
And then Bill Cureless was asking if we still work for money as we're everyone works for money, if we still work on boats for money as we sail. And essentially we stopped doing boat work about a year and a half ago, when we were able to, with Patreon, become full-time video creators. And essentially it was just way too much work to try to work on other people's boats and film working on other people's boats and then have a YouTube channel. It was just unsustainable. So we threw all of our eggs in. No, we didn't do that. We just, how would you say it? We decided if we're gonna,
we just had to commit.
Yeah.
There was just no half-assing it.
Yeah.
Is the only way I know how to put it.
We just decided, let's try as hard as we can to see if we can become full-time video creators on YouTube.
We kind of faked it till we made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for a while we weren't making money, and we were like working full-time making videos. And it just, one day after probably about a year, it actually started to be something that made sense to spend that. We financially justified spending all that time. And that's where we're at now, where, you know, through our videos, we can fund our travels. So.
Also, we're going to go ahead and close the raffle for this beautiful t-shirt. You want to show that again?
Yeah, so you want to give it like 3 minutes or 5 minutes? Here we go.
Let's do 3.
So you guys have 3 minutes to donate $5 or more to enter into a raffle to win this awesome t-shirt on the right, I'd Rather Be Sailing. And this is a Project Atticus exclusive design. And in fact, we won't be releasing it to the public for another week or two. So this is your chance to get it to be the very first person on the planet to own this t-shirt. So very exciting stuff. So a couple minutes. And if you want to enter, you can jump on to projectatticus.live, the website. And that's our donation page, and you can easily enter.
And Brad Scott says, I love the mug, like I need another one, but I've got to have it. That's awesome. Sheen Marine is chiming in from South Central Ontario. We've got SV Wombat saying, follow the dream. We've got JD Dyes. He says, hey guys, looking forward to your time in the Pacific. Thanks for joining us again. We've got Darth Hater. Oh, that's great. He says, water maker using a pressure washer for the pump. Look it up.
Oh yeah, definitely something to consider. I do like that. But the only problem, well, anyway, I won't go into it. Mike Laz says, is the t-shirt for sale anywhere? And yes, if you guys really wanted either the coffee mug or the t-shirt, they are both, and you aren't lucky enough to win the giveaway tonight, then they both are for sale on our donation page. So again, that is projectatticus.live, and you can buy both of those items.
And there's also a female tank top option if you'd like. We've got Bruce Benaway. We've got JVO311. We've got Warren. He says, I really like the t-shirt. Stacy DePaolo already bought me the line drawing one, which I love. Oh, that's cool. We've got Michelle Luis. Bought 2 Passion for Sailing mugs. That's so cool. She says, hi buds, hubby and I have been following your journey and excited for the big one. We will enjoy our coffee and these beautiful mugs. Desiree, thank you. Hugs from us. That's awesome. We've got Sailing Zingaro. We've got SV Kaizen says, love your channel. Brad Scott says, buy flowers for the pretty lady with this tomorrow. Damn it, you can thank me later. We've got Jimmy Allen. That's so awesome. He says, Jordan and Des have been on board from the beginning. Spot my pup and I have been on Miss McKenna. I know. SW30 hull. Hull number 121 from about the same time you started your SV search. Also picked up an Allied Seawind 2 refitting for circumnavigation soon. That's so awesome.
Rock on.
Yeah, send us some pictures once you have been working on the boat for a little while. I've got a lot more thank yous. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, so what do we got here? Mm-hmm. We got Bones Brigade says, just found your videos a couple days ago, caught it by chance and stumbled on your live feed by chance. I highly respect what you guys are doing, and the videos are great. So thanks, Bones. Gabriel Rouser says, don't forget the chocolate. SV Gusto says, get that water maker. Rock on. Thanks, buddy. John Dixon Honduras says, I hope you come by Honduras again. I'd love to meet you in person.
Catracho.
Yeah, keep it. David Daly says, keep at it, guys. Love you doing your thing. Thank you. Abdiel says, you're living my dreams. My plan is to start sailing in the next 5 years. Congrats, buddy. And then Wonderwood says, off the grid homesteading. Kind of sounds like you guys are budding preppers. Can you pass along a mailing address? Email us. Yeah, send us an email, and you can find our email on our website, or it's des@projectatticus.com. Thank you to Lisa Repack. Thank you very much.
And we're all caught up.
Okay,
there we
go.
Cool.
So, let's do the giveaway.
Yeah.
See who wins the awesome t-shirt.
Do a couple more questions, because I still have to tally stuff up.
Do it. Okay, so, let's see here. So, Creals says, keep up the great work on the videos. You're an inspiration to my wife and I. We're still working, trying to saving to buy our first cruising boat. Rock on, man. Congratulations. It's very exciting. Oh, that's cool. Vinny Vuro says, on SV Jojo here in Key West, our island misses you. Keep living the dream. Well, we miss Key West. That was a wonderful place to live. Yeah. One of my fondest memories is of working on charter boats there in Key West Bight and having to show up at like 7 in the morning before there was, it's quiet and still in a place that normally has hundreds or thousands of people walking around. And I just used to love showing up first thing in the morning and kind of just getting the boat ready. It's a neat place. Indie in the Dark says, have you thought about how you want to retire? We definitely talk about it. I think that, there's that old adage that, if you want to give up sailing, someone asks somebody like, oh, what's your plan when you're done sailing? And they say, well, I'm going to take the anchor off of my boat. I'm going to sling it over my shoulder. And I'm going to walk inland. And I'm just going to keep walking inland day and night, for weeks at a time until somebody finally looks at me and looks at the anchor and says, what's that? And I feel like maybe that's what we'll do. Like, we're going to get so far away from the ocean at some point. Just because.
And the heat.
To do something different.
I dream about, like, snowy, cold, mountainy days.
Yeah.
Keep on getting distracted. 39.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that we talk about. Yeah. Let's see here. Stacy DePaolo says, would you ever change out Little Ship for a life raft dinghy? And it's something to think about. It would really depend on the boat itself. Because for us, it's super important that we can get on a plane. Mm-hmm. It's literally vital to how we cruise. And so it's just something I wouldn't compromise on. So if we could find... It'd be something I'd consider with the next boat, because we could actually have space for a slightly bigger, sturdier, solid dinghy that could potentially have those floats around the gunnel or whatever. Mm-hmm. So something to consider, but I would have to look at the different options available. But for us, getting on a plane is the difference between getting to kind of experience a 2-mile radius around you or getting to experience a 15-mile radius around you. And we love that, getting to pick the most comfortable anchorage and then knowing that we can explore this large area around where we are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got the next winner. Are we ready?
Are we ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
No, I'm talking to them.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? I think we're ready.
Okay. The winner of tonight's t-shirt is Carlos Berlanga.
Carlos Berlanga, come on up.
So,
All right.
Carlos, if you're there, just shoot me an email at des@projectatticus.com with your mailing address, and we'll get you sorted.
And
t-shirt size.
Yep. And remember, if you aren't one of the lucky winners tonight, then definitely head on over to projectatticus.live and you can pick up either the coffee mug or our super cool I'd Rather Be Sailing t-shirt. So, yeah, very exciting stuff. We've got some more t-shirt designs that we're going to be rolling out in the next month, roughly, couple weeks. And so keep your eyes out for those. And we are hauling out on Tuesday. So, yeah, that's going to be a bummer. It's not exactly a normal boatyard here in the sense that, I mean, it's great that they have a boatyard. It's very affordable. But it's in the mangroves, and it's kind of like way off on its own, and there's a lot of bugs, and it's very hot, and there's no electricity at night, which isn't a huge deal for us. But
back to peeing in water bottles.
Yeah, so that's going to be, hopefully we're only going to be there for 2 weeks. I've got a couple things that I need to do. I want to replace our cutlass bearing. It's getting a little bit loose. I think that's because the engine has gone out of alignment a little bit. And so we're going to pull the shaft, get the cutlass bearing out, realign the engine, replace the cutlass bearing. I've got to clean up our stuffing box because it's getting a little bit corrody and it's hard to adjust. And so clean that up and put it back and adjust it. So we got a handful of things that we want to do, but it's not a massive amount. As well as put the masts back up. So we're pretty much ready to do that. So yeah, that's where we're at now.
That'll be an interesting video. We might try to live stream the second week of our haul out if we have good internet there, because we want to give ourselves the full 2 weeks to just do projects and film. We usually kind of alternate filming and editing, but we decided during the haul out period we just need to be heads down, totally working on the boat. Yeah,
just totally 100% focus on getting out of the boatyard, because that can be one of those vicious cycles. Right. You know, if you don't spend every moment doing it, you can get stuck there for a while. Couple people have brought up that we had a lot of views tonight. A lot of people on the live stream, and
cool. 2 Cents
specifically, yeah, 2 Cents Trucking, and then Fishbutt 2K2 is asking, have we ever gotten that close to 1,000 viewers? And no, I think that was potentially our most successful live stream from a view camp standpoint.
Cool.
So thank you guys for being a part of that. That's so very exciting.
Yeah.
And then also 2 Cents Trucking says doing a vid on the wood bases you made, ?
Yep.
And yes, so I'm editing today and tomorrow the episode that will be released this coming Thursday, and that is all about dealing with our wood bases and actually coming up, stumbling upon another solution. So
Spoiler alert.
we will leave it at that. Yeah.
Creel says, have you guys thought about bringing on a crew member to assist with your crossing? And Atticus is just so small, and we decided long ago to cut down our starboard berth kind of in half so that we can have a portable fridge unit. And so really only one person can sleep down in Atticus at a time when we're underway, unless you wanted to sleep in the V berth, which is not comfortable when you're underway. So we don't really do crew for passages. We'll do crew just for maybe 1 or 2 days at a time, just to show family a good time. But it's got to be really calm seas and no real overnight sleeping, because it's just so small. You got to be real close.
We're getting a lot of
Varnish the old
We're getting
teak.
a lot of wood jokes.
Morning wood is good.
Yeah, Brad
Great.
Scott's asking if we're going to polish our wood. Yeah, Brad. Yeah. Why don't you come polish the wood? You should, man. Come visit us. I'll let you polish the wood all day.
2 Cents Trucking says get a puppy, which I'd be happy to.
So before we wrap up, we should just mention, for those of you who are curious about why we haven't been releasing an episode every Thursday, particularly coming up, because as we said with this boatyard stint that we're doing, this month, the month of February, we're actually only releasing 2 episodes, which is a huge bummer for us. Now, we're going to try to make sure we do live streams whenever we miss an episode. But again, we've kind of mentioned it in the past, but the whole thing is that we, don't want to skimp on quality. We want to be able to put the same amount of effort into our episodes as we always do. Mm-hmm. And right now, with all of our refit projects, we just don't have the time to do that, to spend that kind of time and effort, and to have an episode ready every single week. And so at this point, 3 a month has made it doable. But for this month in particular, we've just got so much going on that we had to knock it down to 2. So sorry about that, first of all. We don't like that. We wish we could do 3 at a minimum, and 4 would be ideal. But hope you guys can bear with us on that.
And it's been fun. We've tried to at least do a live stream every time we miss a week. So that's been kind of cool because we get to hang out with you guys more, and that's fun for us.
Yeah, I do really dig the live streams.
Yeah.
So that's basically it, guys. So thanks a lot for joining us for the live stream.
Yep.
This was a great time. TGIT.
And thank you, Dave, for running back home to be our moderator, and thank you, Natalie, for also stepping in there for a little while. You're both amazing, and we don't know what we would do without you. And thank you guys for watching our videos and bringing all of your energy and awesome questions just to spend some time with us. So, yeah.
Yeah, so guys, can we get a real quick thank you to Dave for spending his vacation with us? And thanks to our not first time, but our guest moderator, Natalie. So if you guys could thank Natalie too, please, that'd be great. And then, other than that, do you need to thank...
we wanted to thank WeBoost. We are using our cell phone booster called the WeBoost Drive so that we get a stronger signal when we're in places that maybe we're close, a little bit farther away from town, from a tower, and the WeBoost augments that signal and makes it possible for us to do live streams from Atticus, which is amazing. Also, if you guys never want to miss a live stream in the future and you're located in the United States, you can text Atticus, Atticus, to the telephone number 43506, which is in the description below, and that'll give you a free text message about an hour before we go live. And that's it.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll see you next week with our episode, and then hopefully we'll be live streaming from the hot, buggy boatyard in 2 weeks, but no promises. Yeah. We'll see how our WeBoost is able to handle the signal over there.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.